comfortable with it?
But no, it's
Oh.
not freaky. It's actually not.
Yes, it is. It's freaky, friend. Hey, y'all. Don't try to normalize our freakiness.
The freaky is not normal. But y'all know how we do. Y'all know how we come in. That's what we do. Because we have a conversation on the other side before we come over here to y'all, and then we get over here, and then it's like he. Y'all better be happy we want to come on, because we be having some good conversations.
Really, really good. Y'all caught me out here with no earrings on. Where I'm going? Hold on. I'm listening.
Well, I'll do the intros while you getting your earrings.
Get cute for y'all with kisses.
So hello everybody. Welcome. My name is CiaraWimby. Welcome to Live You Brunch and Munch. I am the CEO and founder of LIV You Nonprofit. And I am also the physical wellness coach. And as you can see, we got two today. We are missing one. She is taking care of some personal business. So she's not in with us today, but we have the lovely Cicely here. And guess what? She got a new hairdo. She got a new hairdo.
Little bald head, small head, little bald head. Hi, everybody. It is I, the one with the cootie-free kisses and no hair now, Cicely, the mental wellness coach. Welcome in.
Hey, everybody. So interesting. Our topic today is dealing with peace in the mental battlefield, or finding peace in the mental battlefield. And we were actually, our off topic talk was about just the spiritual space, and how the spiritual space is in alignment with the mental space, and how there's a spiritual plane, and there could be a war happening in the spiritual plane, and then that war can leak over, or not can, will.
It will. Lots of
Right, let
time
me take
does.
away can. Let me will leak over into your mental battlefield. And how do we go about, finding peace in those various areas? Because I mean, the reality is there are people that, don't have as much going on as somebody else has going on. That's a true thing. Some people's lives are a lot easier for whatever reason, whatever rhyme or reason, and some people's lives are just always full of
turmoil.
Yes, I was gonna say excitement, but not the positive kind.
Right. And you're right, though. It's definitely a thing, and it makes me think, like, I don't know if people believe in like reincarnation or what your beliefs are or whatever the case may be. I know a lot of people, the spirits don't die, they carry on, whatever. So when you mentioned that about some people are really at peace, and life is easy living, I think about the people that's down south, and I'm like, yeah, they do easy living. They speak to everybody, they all excited. And I think about why their life is easy living, because the down south living years ago, it seemed like yesterday, but years ago, was a tumultuous lifestyle. And so they deserve that kind of peace. So it's just like whatever happened before it was your time, somebody went up to battle. So depending on how hard they battled, depends on how, what you're dealing with right now. And so just the same way a lot of us, how we are battling now, like for generational wealth, that's a big thing that's happening right now. That's a big move for a lot of African Americans, a lot of Black and brown people, but we're learning, there's a real big push for generational wealth. And so we are doing that because we don't want our kids to go through what we've been through, and our grandkids, things like that. So I also feel like when we talk about generational wealth, it is more than just finances. It's it's a mindset. Because if your mind not there, the money ain't gonna ever be there. So these are some, whoever went before us had did some, depending on which areas of your life you could see, like, damn, they really battle. And some other like, y'all ain't do nothing. Right?
Y'all lazy.
Yeah. I got to fight every night just to prove my love. Right. So hold on, I just want to make a statement. I went to get these earrings and y'all can't even see them, but it's okay. Off topic like a mug, but still.
Look, let me get my drink.
But look, earrings. But yeah, like I was saying, like it's a thing. And when we talk about spiritual and mental warfare, it's like that same fine line for love and hate. Like it's a real fine line between it. And a lot of times we just don't know how to deal with it, especially if your spiritual life not entwined. Your mental life, for the most part, be like, make it make sense. But sometimes when you're tapped into your spiritual side, it makes sense on the physical plane to make, on the physical plane, which comes through as your mental plane and your thought process and how you operate in certain spaces. So when we talk about keeping peace, finding peace in the middle of a mental warfare? That's what I call it, but that's not what you said.
Battlefield.
Battlefield warfare, same thing. It's all about what are your goals. Like that's one of the ways that I could teach on the physical realm on how to do it. Like where are you trying to go with it? You ever walk into a room and somebody was looking for something so like very vigorously and it made you start looking too, but you have no idea what you're looking for, right? And you find like, wait, what are they looking for? And then, oh, my earring back. We're not finna find that shit. Let's just go get a new one, right? That's how it is on a mental plan. Like, where are you trying to go? Where do you want to go? That's the easiest way I can put it. Where do you want to go? So you can at least have a vision in mind and how to get them. And then we can structure a plan on how to get there mentally, that's how I battle it. I have to have vision. I have to have goals set in every area of my life. If it's my spiritual, physical, financial, whatever, goals set to keep me going, because things that don't align with what I've set in that goal, I know it is either a distraction, depending on how, because distractions always good too, right? And you ain't gonna have no
Right. Sometimes they fun.
Yeah, and they really throw you off. Sorry, getting text messages. Y'all know I can't talk and read at the same time. Then my multitasking skill, the older I get, is just dead, and I'm okay with that, right? It comes with age. But yeah, so when you think about it in that manner, like, what am I looking for? Where am I going in this direction? Because if I don't know where I'm going, then I'll accept anything. That's one of them sayings, like, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, right? It's like that for real in every area of your life. So if you don't know where you're going, it's in a disarray because you're taking whatever is coming your way, regardless if it's good, bad, But when you align the goal, yourself with the goal, you recognize it like, this distraction fun, but is it pushing me towards what it is that I want to do here? If so, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. If not, damn, that was fun, but I gotta go, y'all. Like, I was tired anyway. Right? You got to make some type of excuse for it, because you really be salty and have to let that part go. And then the other distractions you really can notice, I'm like, ooh, nah, that's taking too much of my energy. That'll take too much of my time. Like, yeah, no. And you'll find it in, like, sometimes when people say things to you, right? It's in your reaction. This how I know when I'm really in it, like walking and high talking for real, for real. Certain things people will say that used to trigger me, like, bitch, you know what? Peace and blessings be unto you. Let me go ahead and move. Right? That's when I knew that I was in the main vein with some things. Like, I had to pat myself on the back, like, good job, because the old me told you my default setting is violence. I be with the shits. So that's how I started to recognize it. And I also do a thing where I write it down. Because both of us. Ciara's really a visual learner. Like, and
you know what? I didn't actually learn that. This is the funny part. I didn't learn that until 2018 when I started being a lean coach and teaching about process improvements and things like that in the workspace, and how you had to have everything in a visual manner. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm a visual learner.
Definitely.
And I was like almost like 100%. I was like, when did that happen?
I realized it. I think you might have said it out loud, and I'm like, I knew I was, but I never put a name to it. Like, I mean, seeing is believing, right? Show
I think
me.
that's when, because it was in my space, so that's when I finally, I was like, oh, is that what I
I realized I realized it for me when I majored in radio, TV, and film production, because I was like, I'm good with my hands. If you could show me that, because stuff like that, granted, it does take mental power, but that's physical labor. That's not mental work. Yeah, I got to come up with the creative of what I'm gonna do here, but it was more so of a physical work, and I'm like, I can master that because hell, I'm me, right? So I went to school, an undergrad, for fun, like hell, because they told me I had to be here, so I might as well do something fun. Who wants to? And that's that's a whole different side topic, but I'll talk about it. Teaching your kids to go to school with a purpose, but so we won't waste money. But that was one of the things I recognized about myself. Like, I am a visual learner, and it comes easy to me, right?
am?
And so why work hard when you can work smart, you know? And so, but that's one of the things
I
that I
even lay in
do.
the bed and close my eyes. Like even before I wake up or whatever, I literally see myself doing the things that I need to do for the day before I even get out the bed and start doing them. And
Yeah.
then if I find myself having a block, like one day I had a lot of different projects that I wanted to work on in my house.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was visualizing, I kept like getting distracted even in my visualization and
Mm-hmm.
started thinking about something else. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm trying to like visualize my day. Why do I keep getting distracted? And I was like, oh, because you're having some blocks
Mm.
and all these projects that you're trying to take on. So instead of attacking the situation in the manner that you're trying to attack it, just
Mm-hmm.
think of it differently. Just kind of like float from room to room and then just see what you'll do. And I was like, oh, okay, float from, it's almost like I take drugs, but I really don't, y'all. That's the funny part. Sometimes I ask myself, did I do some drugs and I didn't know about it? Because I'm like, oh, let me just float from room to room when I wake up. And then
A
I
hippie.
wake up and I'm
Let
floating
me a
away.
hippie. You're a hippie. Mm-hmm.
Right. I have natural exposure.
Hippie tendencies. Okay. No. um, I'm sorry.
She's so
Sorry, you didn't text me. You know, y'all know I don't want to multitask. I keep telling y'all this. Anyway, yeah, but that is a major thing in learning how, like, you got to learn what weapons that's going to help you fight off your battlefield, right?
mm-hmm.
So we all have a tool shed. Some of us has more. You know, when you go to different people's house, you're like, why I got all these tools? Like, what y'all be doing in here, right? And then you like, I got a hammer, a screwdriver, some pliers. That's it, right? And you go over your friends, they got a saw, they got chainsaw. Like, they doing heavy artillery. I'm making words up, but heavy artillery. they doing stuff with it. And so that's the same. Like, they've learned what they need to work their yard or whatever the case may be. And it's the same thing on your mental path. Like, what tools do you need? What battles are you fighting? Because we're not all fighting the same battles.
We not.
And so there's no cookie cutter answers to say, hey, you got to go in there, you got to speak to this thing. Like, yeah, you could do that, but sometimes you got to really put your dukes up and fight. Like, no,
Fight
no,
for
no.
your life.
Right. You can't be in there like, oh, I'm gonna talk nice to it. No, sometimes you gotta talk reckless, like, hey, we finna get with it. Like, so it's true. Like, it's no one way to attack it. But you, in fighting whatever your battle it is, one, you gotta call a thing a thing. Let's not act like so I'll say one of the battles that I see most in people, and I see it most in people because and then it allows me to see how it can come from my way, because I'm not exempt to these things. So, like, let's just say depression. That's something that a lot of people deal with. Some of them deal with just seasonal depression. I really get seasonal depression because when it get dark outside, I'm like, why we can't go to sleep? It's dark.
Man, that was me growing up in Chicago. Cause what, 4 o'clock it get dark in the winter months, and I was like homework done, relaxing, chilling, and then especially like in college, people would call and they're like, "Oh, I'm doing my homework. What you doing?" I'm like, "Not homework. It's dark outside." And they're like, Ciara, what does that mean? I'm like, that mean all light activities in. I'm watching TV, I'm laying in the bed, I'm chilling, I'm relaxing. Like, that was daytime activity. Homework was daytime activity. And they would think I was crazy. I'm like, yeah, I adhere to the seasons and the time of the day. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
doing that.
And so I get it. I definitely get it with the, the waves of depression. Some people have it all the time, but it still looks different. It has a universal name, but it looks different. Because you can see some people who have a severe depression that they can't move, it's crippling. Then you have others who can come and show face, but when they get home, you like, damn, you ain't cleaned this house in how long? You just sitting in the
I
dark
had a
in here?
friend like that. I when a loved one died, and I went to their house, and their house looked like it had thrown up, and I was like, "Oh, so you depressed, huh?" And they were like, "Well, why do you say that?" I'm like, "Have you live here? Are you looking at this?" And I can always tell when things are going on with people
Mm-hmm.
because of how their house looks. Because everything is in disarray. Now, there are some people who can fool you because they have an immaculate house.
That's called functional depression.
And then I'm like, wait a minute, I know y'all fucked up, and yet, and y'all know I don't really come out like that on here. Sorry, y'all, but you see it, and you like, but everything is in place up in here. So this is interesting how this is working out. Like, why
Because
is that
they have
happening?
some source of refuge. Like, so it's not an all the time thing. You can be depressed in certain areas. Like, I call it financial depression. When my bank account low, I'm depressed. I don't want to talk. Right? Soon as that catch it, yeah, I'm back. Ain't nothing wrong
Yeah,
with me. Let's hit it. Right?
what?
Right? So, and then that's not depression. You're just being extra, right? But no, like it's a functional thing. Functional, certain things make
Because
you
you
sad.
can't. I was about to say, because people get sad about a lot of different things. I tell people all the time, like, especially like with loss and having lost both my parents. I'm like, I'm not sad all the time. I'm like, first off, I don't have time for that because I
Stuff to
want
do.
to continue to live my life here. Like, there's going to be a time when I don't have this physical body anymore, and I'm back in the spiritual realm with them too. But we came here to enjoy this space. So just because my parents are gone, I don't feel like it is my duty to be sad all the time. They don't want me
Mm-hmm.
sad all the time. But there's times when something may happen and I'm like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a moment and then I'm like, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Okay, it's time. It's time to end because I
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I got stuff to do. So, but that's a balance, right? You had to learn that. Like that wasn't, it's and then the difference is grieving is a process, right?
It's forever. I tell people you don't have to be sad all at one time. Believe
It's
you
gonna
me.
come in
The rest of
waves.
the time you're gonna be here, you're gonna be sad. So don't deal with it all today. You
You
can
don't have
stretch
to.
it out.
Yeah. And so, but I don't categorize grief and depression in the same thing because they're two
It's
totally
two
different
different things.
entities, right? But a lot of times they do get grouped in when to the untrained eye. They just depressed, like they're grieving, and you can grieve a loss of any form, not just a death of human death, but a loss of a job, a divorce, that's a loss of time. I don't know longer if you've been like, people who get married and been married for like 25 years.
Yes,
And then
yes.
all of a sudden they ain't that dude didn't die, female didn't die, but they no longer together. So that's a loss of identity. Who am I? I have to
Or
re-identify
your
myself.
children. That's a children when people grow up and people and they're ready to be on their own and then their parents are like, but I'm a mom. What am I now if they're doing their
Mm-hmm.
own thing? This was something I thought about last night. I think about random stuff, y'all. I'm gonna let y'all know. I not and even me, I'm like, why am I thinking about this? I don't even care. But on Facebook, for instance, so I've been on Facebook as a whatever member since 2009 or active. I didn't even set
That's
up my
11
account.
years.
I didn't even set up my account. My ex-husband set up my account. Like I was like, I'm not doing all of that. So, but one of the things that I've paid attention to is that there's one moment in time when people are posting their children all the time. My kids, my kids, my kids, my kids, and then all of a sudden you don't see their kids anymore, right? And then you're like, well, damn, did they die? Like, where the kids at? What happened?
Mhm.
No, the kid has gotten older, and the kid has decided that I'm not doing
Gonna let you.
you
I'm
talking
not your
about,
muse.
and I'm off living my best life on my own Facebook page, doing whatever it is that I do.
Mhm.
And then, you kind of look at the people's page, and sometimes the page goes away. Like, you don't really see any more updates from people.
Mhm.
Or sometimes, they find whatever now their niches and their purpose, and then that's the focus.
Mhm.
But it's really interesting to see the transition out of parenthood into something else or nothing.
Mhm.
And Facebook shows you this, and I'm just like, wow, that's pretty amazing how I can like literally see what's happening in that person's space, and the loss of no more parenting in that same spot the way they were.
I can guarantee you right now, somebody watching this, like, you reading too deep up into it. Life just changed. I can guarantee you somebody said
That's
that.
because they in
But
it and they upset right now that they going through a transition. That's why you saying it now. I said it.
it's true. But it is very true. When you lose an identity, like, I've been a student for the longest, right? When I finish this program, I have no intentions of going back to be a student in this capacity. But will I grieve the loss of having that? Because that's what I've been knowing for the last, I'm not gonna tell you how many years, but
Forever.
I am forever, ever, forever. But so yeah, that's something I'll have to recondition myself to no longer be in that capacity to be into private practice, whatever it is I'm going into. But I still will have to give myself that time to grieve that loss of identity as a student now. And it may change to a professor, whatever the case may be. Because sometimes you do gain titles, like you're no longer a parent anymore. Or yeah, you're gonna always be a parent, but now you're a grandparent, right?
Right.
So now and that's
But
why us
but
as
even if you're a parent, you're not mothering the same way you were mothering
yeah,
before. I don't
yeah.
need to every moment be in your business, what you're doing, how you doing it. Let me guide you, let me direct you, let me blah 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 blah. Because
Well,
it's
you know what? I'm for some people it doesn't stop, right? Because I'm that,
it
and I
wasn't
laugh.
stopping for Jametta Johnson. And
Yeah,
as
she
we
wasn't gonna
talked
let it stop.
about before we got on this call, which is Jametta Johnson is in the spiritual realm still trying to be
Mother.
about it, because that's, and I know that for a fact. Even, before we, because that's who my mother is. She's not going to stop that. It can't
Okay.
nobody stop her from doing that.
That part. And also before we got on the call, you met my mother and my grandmother. It's not stopping. And so it just transformed for that, in that aspect. And that is the thing that we have to find comfort. That's mental warfare, right? Because now I no longer need to parent in that manner. And I was laughing. I saw a TikTok the other day when here we are as adults. Mama, the Tylenol thing say take 2, but how many should I take? Mama,
I saw that. I saw
that's me. That is me. So I don't care how old I am, I'm still gonna call my mama for
that
that
used to be my
reassurance,
mom, because my
right?
mom was Google before we had Google.
And her
And
word is law.
then I didn't have that to call anymore. And so then I was like, well, okay, well, what do I do? And it wasn't like I said, oh, let me go to Google. I said, well, let me think about what will my mama tell me. Hold on. Let me channel my mama.
You
Girl,
know,
what? And then I'm still, well, I still don't want to do it, but I wanted to hear what
still talking smack. But yeah, so that's really like, so it doesn't change, even like you said, in the spiritual, your mama's still mothering. And so, but it's levels to it, right? It's with like a shapeshifter type of thing. And but some people struggle with that. A good example is like when mother and daughters, like, if to, and y'all see I rock with my mama the hardest way. It's almost to the point where it was an unhealthy enmeshment at one point, and then I had to get my life together. We both did, like, you know what, this is not that. It was like that was groupthink all the time. But when you start to separate, let's just say you and your mother or your parent, whoever the case may be, have this wonderful great relationship and y'all do everything together, and then one entity gets married, because who, oh, you married all of us. What are you saying?
Right. I used to say that in my, like, I didn't get married until after my mom passed away, but he was my boyfriend before. But and we were looking at houses or whatever, and I was like, we all living together. What are you talking about? Me and my mama and us. Like,
And he probably was like,
right. He was like,
"Cause you
no.
wow, you
And he
out like
had a
that."
son, and he was like, well, me, you, and my son. I said, well, if he don't be there, why can't my mama be there? What? You
We
tripping?
had extra parties.
Right. You got one, I got one. What you talking about?
even him. But that's a thing. Like, so when that that time comes, that, and because sometimes um it's a forced change. It's not something that we all committed to. That forced change still comes with hesitation. Wait, hold on, who's she talking to? Oh, I'm moving like I'm moving my mom in here. It's like that type of thing, and that happens in mental changes as well. There's most time than often, unless you legit decide I'm gonna let this go and smoothly transition into that. 9 times out of 10, that's not how life goes. Only time we smoothly transition when we know that it'll be going into something better. Like, you're getting a promotion. You don't be fighting it like,
oh, okay,
all right, bye, right?
More money in my bank. Okay, that's cool. That's
Exactly.
cool.
Let me do what I got to do. But when it's something like they telling you, I need you to be team captain, but it don't come with no pay raise, you like, right? Right, not knowing what the future holds. Like, hey, we're setting you up for these things, but that initial, you want me to do more work for what?
No.
So, like, it's 9 times out of 10 that transition is not an easy one, and it's really a decision, a self decision. Like, do I want to fight this? Because clearly it's happening anyway. So that mental warfare on that place is a legit decision. You know how people like, you have to choose happiness. You have to choose joy.
Man, when I tell y'all, that's real, because like when my mom passed, and I know this is not part of depression, but it's a transition. And it was an identity thing, because I'm Jametta Johnson's daughter. Like, that's what I am. And I'm not changing that identity. It's interesting because a lot of people ask me, like, even with my name, they're like, oh, Wimby, is that your married name? I said, no, I never changed my name, because I'm always Ciara to be a Wimby. That's who I am. That's my identity. I'm not Ciara to be a Wimby or Ciara to be a somebody else. That's not no. But I literally
see how she struggled with that transition.
right, right. I'm always somebody else's daughter. That's what I identify with. And I tell people that I know my identities. And if you can't accept what I identify with, then I'm not that person, because I'm not changing that. I'm always going to be Ciara to be a Wimby. I am always going to be like, I'm astrology. I'm Aries, and then now that I know my whole natal chart, I'm like, and then my moon is in and then whatever.
And I'd be like, what? Tell me what that mean again.
I identify, at this day and age, I identify as female.
That's so funny. I had a class, right? And they were like, what are your pronouns? Royalty.
Oh my
queen.
God. When they say that, I'm like, what? She, her, what?
Queen.
I don't.
Royalty.
I'm like that. I didn't grow up with that. I'm sorry. I can't.
Yeah,
I'm not changing. Again, I'm not changing that.
Because I'm respectful for it, because I'm in it. I work with that community. That's that why the transition is coming in.
Me. Like, who pronouns Ciara to be a Wimby? Pronouns Ciara to be a Wimby. Pronouns. I'm not giving no more. I'm not saying which one. I just told
you. What is queen? The queen. Royalty. Royal Highness. Which one you want to go with? Right. So, but yeah, I get that. I definitely respect the people who are going through that transition, because that's their own. That's a different struggle.
Yeah.
Transition that.
It, but I don't feel like being pronounced.
Yeah, I get it. That's something we deal with, like, coming from the older generation to the younger as well. It's a definite, and I always say, Charlie,
that's a transition. That's another mental battlefield, right? That's a
definitely
what you grew up knowing versus what is now. Like, even just something as simple as the word ain't. When I grew up, if you said ain't, people said, oh, ain't in the dictionary. That's not a real word. And then one day it got in there and you was like, I'm a victor. Yes, it's in the dictionary.
Because I ain't doing it. You are no lie. That is definitely one. So yeah, transition is hard, right? This mental battle for the thing is it's never not gonna be transition. Like that's life. It's changed life. It's happening. And one of the things when things happen like that, I'm like, what have you done to make you exempt from life? Right?
It's always happening.
Right. So sorry, I don't know if y'all heard that or not, but door gas lamp. Anyway, but yeah, so life is life, right? And so when these transitions come in this mental battlefield, it's really a choice on, am I gonna harbor on it? Because the longer I harbor on it, the harder this transition is gonna be. And I don't want anybody to negate, like, you just want me to get over it. No, I'm not, because your emotions are valid. Let's validate that in a minute. But at the same time, it's you who's holding up this progress. So it can't, what I want you to start taking others, including myself, is something I'm working on.
Right. We all have to work with this.
Yeah. But take responsibility that it is me who's holding up the process in this transition. So when I make up my mind and say, okay, I'm gonna let it go, or okay, I've made peace with this, then I get it going. So like when we talk about being angry, right? Like when some BS happen, right? And my homegirls know, I have a 24-hour turnaround. So if you miss me in that 24-hour turnaround, me calling you with the girl, let me tell you, because I'm hyped up, right? Giving you my first choice violence on all the stuff I want to do, and before my rationale sits in, because I'm human.
First choice violence.
I'm human because I'm really planning my attack because they don't know who they messing with. And yeah, I'm with that, right? So when I really calm down and rationalize, so let's just say you missed that call and you missed me in my worked upness. And I'm making the words all day today. Y'all don't steal my words, y'all.
Guess what? They're gonna be in the dictionary in about 5 years. Don't worry, they're real words. Don't worry about it.
Boom. And so
it wasn't in there, now it is.
Boom. And so like the thing is, like, so if you miss me in that 24-hour turnaround, you don't get to, I won't let you relive it. I won't relive it with you. Right, you know what I'm saying? Right. So, but that's a choice that I really had to learn how to make. Like, I'm only going, let me get through it. Let me validate myself to know it, because it's reason why I'm feeling this way. Anything that brings up emotion, there's a validity behind it, no matter who tells you not. It was a thing. I felt it, so you can't tell me it's not real. Right. So I have to always acknowledge how it made me feel. Can I explore why it made me feel that way? Absolutely. That may take a little bit more time, but I get to choose what I want to do. Do I want to sit in this feeling? Do I want to, because sometimes if it's a negative feeling, I don't want it to sit too long. Because like I said, the flip side of me really, like, I'm gonna blow this place up. But the other side of me is like, listen, is this attached to your journey? Is this the goal? I have to go back to those goals that I set for myself and see how it's keeping me stagnant in those areas. So one of the things that for tools for mental warfare is me making a choice of how long I want to sit into something. And so when it's some BS for me, I literally give 24 hours. 24 hours, and then I got to move past it. Because if not, if I dwell on it the next day, it's taking up space in my brain. I'm ruminating about it. And I'm giving it a life of its own and telling it that it can hold space in a space that I don't want it to be in. But I'm giving it permission. I'm saying, well, I'm out. I don't want to deal with it, but it's still holding a space there.
Right.
And that was creating a life of its own, just like babies do. And oh, that baby a day old. Girl, wait a minute. He got teeth tomorrow. It grows just that fast.
So I want to talk about that real quick, because and this is before you learn your skill set. So for instance, and this is something real simple. This isn't even something that's deep. Mm-hmm. But it became deep. So in 8th grade, I wound up living in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. And as I've shared, in Chicago, we all have graduations. We all graduate from 8th grade. So that's a big deal. That's a milestone. Mm-hmm. That's something you look forward to. And I didn't change schools. Like, I was at my grammar school from 1st grade to 7th grade. So I'm like, next year I'm gonna be on the top and everything. And I unexpectedly had to live in St. Louis. And so throughout the years, in high school, college, and some in my 20s, I would have dreams that I didn't graduate from school. And so how was I able to move on to these other schools, and or they were going to come back and tell me because I didn't graduate from 8th grade that all these other things
Don't count.
count. So and so, and when we're talking about the mental battlefield and talking about spiritual, because that was, in my dream space, in my non-physical realm, that I'm holding space for this. And it was years. I'm telling you, to probably my end of my 20s, maybe early 30s, that I didn't have this dream anymore. It was recurring. And at 13, I didn't necessarily have tools to deal with the fact that I was unexpectedly uprooted, and moved into another space, and not really realizing how deeply I felt 8th grade meant to me. And so I didn't know how to process that. So clearly part of why I kept having this recurring dream. But then now older, and realizing that there are things that I have to do every single day. So like, when you talk about what tools, because again, there are a lot of tools, I have to practice being in a calm and peaceful space every day, so that when unexpected life events take place, because guarantee you that's happening. Like unexpected stuff is taking place every single day. Now, how you process the unexpectedness is going to determine how connected or attached or detached you are to that experience. But because if I practice being in a calm and peaceful space, most times when unexpected things take place, I'm just like, oh, okay. You know what? That's life. Life happens. That's what's supposed to happen. Okay, dang. All right. Oh, wow. But when they happen, and even if I'm practicing being in my peaceful, calm space, because I need to keep my brain like very neutral. But then there's times when things just trigger me, and I'm like, what the, oh my God, la 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 la. And I don't care how much, tools
Peace.
I have.
Gotta let it out. I gotta
I'm
let it
like,
out.
oh my, and oh my God, and and then and at nighttime I might be like, Ciara, man, why was you like all like that about that? That's not like you. I'm like, I don't care. That's how I acted, and it's gonna happen tomorrow. If I don't go to sleep and wake up happy.
You looking at you like.
But then, like when that's taking place, I realize that that's gonna be something that's gonna stick with me for a minute. That's not something that I can easily detach from with my tools. My I say my standard everyday tools that allows me to move out of it.
Heavy artillery.
Right. That's something I'm gonna have to do some work in, because that triggered something that I didn't know how to process back in the day. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So now let me go in my mental space and try to find that experience where I'm connecting with whatever it is to.
That sound like work.
Man, and it's not gonna happen in one day, because I can't remember every damn thing that happened since I was born. Or before.
But I'm a part of the microwave generation, and I want everything right now. What are you saying? It can't happen in one day.
It might take a few days, a few months. It might take a couple years for me to identify it and change the habit.
But your flesh is saying, but I don't have all the time. I need this to happen right now.
I'm like, I know, girl. So right now you just need to go and do some breathing exercises and relax, because that's all I got for you right now.
The funniest thing you say, because when you're really worked up like that, that's the part that gets you worked up even more, when somebody tells you to calm down. When you calm down. What you
mean? Like, your mama to calm down.
But that's what you're literally saying to yourself. Calm down, get it. And you're like, no, I want to know right now. So it's a war. It's a literally mental warfare with yourself on things that you know are good for you. And that's why I don't like the saying, when you know better, you do better. Absolutely not. Knowing better is one thing, but doing better takes work.
Man, it's
And
another
a
job.
lot of times when you find out something, you're like, oh yeah, that's good to know. But you know how many behavioral changes need to happen for me to really live that life? Have you ever had tried to make a behavioral change that you wasn't forced into?
It's a
They
lot.
they don't usually like you. It takes dedication, hard work. Like it takes a
It's
lot.
a job. It's literally a job. I want to say that, after my mom passed away, I was thankful that I was working at Allstate, and then they were doing a buyout, and I was like, "Hey, am I old enough? Do I have enough years? Can I sign up for this program?"
Pick me. I'll buy it.
Right.
You can
If
buy
don't
now.
nobody else needs, I do it for everybody. And it afforded me 2 years to be off work. And when I tell you, I did so much work on myself. I read so many self-help books. I really started observing my behaviors. I observed why I was in situations that I was in that I didn't want to be in anymore. Um, I had to work up the courage to get myself out of these places so that I could move into my space of pure happiness, joy, and bliss. But it didn't happen overnight, and it took years to identify things, and just because I moved out of a space or learned some stuff in 2 years didn't mean that I still wasn't working on those things the years after that took place. And not to say that I still, you a habit, you can jump back into it at any time.
They die
like
hard.
like when people say, like drug addicts or alcoholics or something like that, I believe all of us are addicts. We
Of some
all
sort.
have some type of addiction that we can easily jump back into at any particular time. That's
I
not
think
helpful.
I think you said something that was critical in this battlefield, right? Um, you said that you can fall back into it anytime, right? Just because I've got to a certain level doesn't mean it stops there. And I think that's the part that a lot of people have failed to process, is that there is no end goal. It's a continuous thing. And so we have this solidified process, like, okay, when I get to this space, then life is supposed to be blah, right? You'll find it a lot. The best way I can put it into layman's terms. Also, before I keep on talking, anybody in the audience speaking to us, because we have not acknowledged them, but if not, if so, hi guys, sorry, because we've been,
Sorry, we've
look,
been
we on the
on a
road.
two-way conversation. I did look a few times and I didn't see any
Okay.
comments. We do have some people out there, hey y'all, but I don't see any comments. Hey
Okay,
y'all.
cool.
Hey.
Just want to acknowledge before I kept going. But to bring it into context is like to think about the educational system, right? For all of our lives, we mark, you graduate from kindergarten, then sometimes you go to middle school and have a middle school graduation. You graduate from 8th grade, graduate from high school, you go to college. It's a certain level of mastery that you can
And you
obtain.
graduate to another level.
Another level.
Keep thinking we're going up and up and
and
up.
up and up and up. But then when that level has been reached, like you reach your ceiling, I have nothing else to guide me in that, right? So I think, boom, prime time example. I made it here. I'm almost at the ceiling, right? Got a couple more years. I'll be done at the ceiling. I have reached doctoral level in this field, right? But that was the goals that everybody else, I just followed the plan. Now what? What does that look like? Because that's what happens when a lot of people go to college. You said told me to go to college. This degree ain't giving what you said it's supposed to give. Because we never put a realistic end goal to it, to say, oh wait, I got to take it and cultivate it and make something out of it and do these things. We put this, okay, I did it, now what? Where's the celebration? What's supposed to drop in my lap? All these things. And so we have these unrealistic ideas of what's supposed to happen once you work towards something. You know what I'm saying? And so it's hard to get past those things. A lot of people get stuck right there because now you're like, oh, you want me to think for myself? You ain't gonna tell me what I'm supposed to do? Anybody, tell me which way I can go. And then that's how we get them to buy in to, oh, you don't want to think for yourself. Let me think for you. Here, you can come over here and work this thing. And now you get stuck
and
in
then
this
she gets
job.
mad and upset. How did I get here? Why am I? This is happening. You know, somebody asked me the other day. I met this guy. He I don't even know how we was talking about this, but I said I went to school for accounting, and so he was like, "Well, how did you go from accounting to being a staff engagement manager? Like, what kind of path was that?" And I was like, "Oh, it probably wasn't a traditional one, but let me tell you everything I did in between. I was a career coach, and then I was an entrepreneurial coach. I was a yoga teacher. I was overseeing some nonprofits, project manager." He was like, "Well, damn." I was like, yeah, I'm not a traditional person." And you know, I have one of my friends and one of our board members, Shanice. We went to grammar school together, and Shanice was one of those people who, she went to, you know, the various levels of school. She went to college. She got a degree in teaching, and she's still a teacher. 20 something years, I think she said 25 years this year, something like that. She'll be celebrating.
Shout out to you, Shanice. Hey, girl.
Man, shout out, Shanice. Ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way
Not
in
our
hell.
ministry.
That's a mental battlefield. That's a mental disruption in my brain that I could have been the same thing. Now she's had, you know, a few jobs, but
All in the
still,
education field, though.
right, and still being a teacher, with the exception of being a coach, as part of her extra duties for one time. There's no way I can't, like, it even now, the mental disruption of the thought of me being that for 25 years is impossible, and still being in the same organization. So by me having different experiences, I've also had different places that I've worked at. I don't even live in the same place. Okay. So
I don't even have the same number.
man, so it blows my mind when someone can do that. Whereas for her, she tells me I'm a gypsy and I'm unstable.
And it blows her mind.
And it
To think
blows her mind.
it's scary. Outside, you are not a gypsy. That's your new name.
An
New
unstable
name.
gypsy. You know, I'm a, and we fight with each other from time to time with that. And I'm like, no, you just complacent. How about that? You know,
That is funny. No,
like,
seriously,
you have
though.
no stability. You can't stay in one thing for 1 minute. And I'm like, oh no, you didn't. So now we're not having a mental battlefield. We throwing words at each other about our mental choices that have been reflected in our physical spaces.
But that's the thing, right? Because tradition is stability for many, right? It's a path that is already. Why you want me to create a new path when it's already a path here? Why you want me to go? That sounds crazy, right? And so you find comfort in it, right? It's a comfort zone. And people thrive in that. You see it. It's everywhere around us. And then you see those ones who are starting to travel the road less traveled, right? Or create new roads.
Man, when I heard that poem as a child, I was like, that poem is everything to me. I was like, I want to be on the road less traveled. Like, I knew it. I was like, nope, I don't want to go down there. It's all dusty and worn out. I don't want to be on that road with them people. I don't even know that they do the same thing. I don't even like them like that. I want to go on a greener pasture, sir, to please and thank you.
I wanted to do what was ever comfortable, right? That my natural being is lazy, right? No, I just want to chill. I want to eat good food. I want to live in comfort. Like, if you ever, I'm a tourist. No bull.
I was about to say, you a tourist.
No lie. I want to live in luxury. I want to live in comfortable luxury, and I want to eat good and sleep good. Yes, But my calling, my anointing has taken me out of that comfort zone. Like, there's no growth and comfort for you. Not to say for others, but for you. No, you got some work to do. Get up, move. Listen, I don't be complaining, but I talk smack all the time. Like, no, boo, I do. I don't complain. I'm talking
Well,
smack.
I gotta get up right now. Why can't you give me 5 more minutes?
I'm washing the dishes, but I'm talking smack. Y'all nasty. You don't need to eat this. I need to eat here. Like, right, but I'm still washing them, right? And so, I had to make peace with that, right? I had to make peace that tradition is a place of stability for many.
And it has a place.
It has its place. But the life that I live looks crazy to those people, right? But it makes sense to me. And I had to make sense to that with that, because even the people that I loved wholeheartedly, it's still a scary place for them. And they told me, out of fear of not knowing where I'm going, because it's a road nobody else has traveled, that I may have been making the wrong mistakes, or, that may not be for you. Are you sure? Throwing what we call projection and their own fears, but it wasn't out of to speak negative to me. Right. It's because out of love, I'm scared. I don't know. I can't protect you down that path, right? I had to come to reason with that, because I used to be like, y'all just some haters, right? Because you think everybody who don't see a vision is a hater. Right. Hate us. And it's not the case. Motherfuckers is not hating on y'all. Y'all really love. You're not even that dope to be hated. Let me start. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is, sometimes on the path that is chosen for you, right? The path that it don't look like the path that everybody else.
It don't look like everybody else's path. It sure doesn't.
Doesn't look like, and it is scary. And I had to come to grips with that. I had a conversation with a really good friend, and he was like, you making a hell of a sacrifice, right? And my first thing was a defense, like, what you mean, right? But the other part of me was like, it's not meant for you to see. But I had to shut the conversation down, because my petty always got to rise. These sacrifices are grand. Don't get me wrong, they are. But when I'm in a position to put you in the positions that you want to be in, will we still have the same conversation about this?
Are we going to say, man, you made those sacrifices and you shouldn't have done them? Oh, but it's possible that it can benefit you. But which is funny, you wasn't even one of my sacrifices, but you was talking smack. And, it's so interesting, because like when I look at you and the sacrifices you make, I think about my mom. And my mom traveled from me being 11, 12, and 13. She traveled for a living, and actually kind of 14 too. She decided in high school that she needed to stop, because her mentality was she needed to have all eyes on me so that I would not be, a teen mama. And I was like, no, this is the best time you should be traveling. What are you talking about?
I want this freedom.
She was like, yeah, job over. I'm going to be all up in your face. But that was a sacrifice for her. I mean, but I stayed at my father's house during the week, and then I would go to my mom's house, our house on the weekend, and I had a stepmother and all this other stuff. But it was a place where it allowed me to see different households, different people. I got to have different perspective by living with different people and seeing different perspectives. So, but that was my path. It wasn't the path that necessarily my mom would have wanted to have for me. But and she always thought that, I hope she doesn't resent me. And but girl, ain't nobody thinking about you. I mean,
but that's true. Sometimes we got to hear that, right? Because I had to come to my child like, do you feel like I'm making? And he was like, you doing what you have to do for us.
Right.
And I support that.
I saw that. I was like,
and I cried. Right. And so sometimes that's all you need to hear, though, because the people who really matters, they don't care. They support you at all costs. Those that don't have a dog in the fight are the ones that's talking the biggest. And you really like, what? But that's a distraction, right? That is a distraction.
And it's a trigger for them with their issues. Like, I'm sorry. You need to be handling those on your own, because it sounds like those are some issues for you. And thank you.
But my default setting be, who you talking to? Because you got me messed up, right? But then, like you said,
mate.
Then I have to come back to that. You know what? That projection it is scary. It should be scary, because what you're trying to do is fit my life into your lifestyle, and it's not. It breaks all standards. So I get that. So I have to come back to that space and realize I don't live a normal life. I'm an outlier. at this point. Like, my lifestyle is an outlier's lifestyle. It don't make sense. It don't fit in. So what do you normally do for outliers? You take them out.
Which is interesting to me because just physically and historically, the West has been the wild west, and where people go to make dreams come true and blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. And the funny thing is, we're Midwest girls and we
To the
moved
West
to
Coast.
West.
But the craziest thing though, when I remember being younger, I remember actually when I first went away to undergrad, I was like, why do people from the West Coast so weird? Why they so like they just don't have certain things, like what with this freedom they had, right? It was just weird for us. Because East Coast, protect yourself, hustle, 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 talk fast, move fast, get it in. And they like, no, look at the sun. Let's sit in the grass.
Let's relax. And I was, and with me, I was like, I feel like those my people. Sure.
I was like, they weird. They weird. And now here I am out here like, oh, I mean, I get it now. It's like, I'm gonna sit down. Oh, let it bask on me, right? So it was a real transition for me, because when I was young, I used to be like, nah, that's not cool. They're gonna get beat up. They're gonna get ate up in the world. They don't understand the world's for the
Well,
sharks.
I remember being told, like, I walked around Chicago like I had on rose-colored glasses, so I was always in that world, like la la
Yeah.
la.
No.
Ladies,
Okay, wait.
11:56.
Yeah, I was about to do that. Wrap it up. Bring it back.
So, what man? This was a good one. We had a from before to now. Like, this is one of those ones where if we did not have, oh, we have one comment. Hold on, but it was 6 minutes ago. Auntie Beverly said mental and physical spaces. I don't know what that comment went to her, but I love the comment. Thank you. We appreciate it. This is one that, how sometimes on YouTube you see people, they talking for like 4 hours. I think this one could have been one, but we put caps on our stuff. We about that boundary life. So we want to thank you all, but before we get out of here, we're gonna just kind of what things that we're doing, what's going on, the self-care e-boxes. I want to thank the ladies who have joined. We have some members to that. We hope that you're enjoying that. And so everybody else, come on through, sign up for those, or sign up for somebody else. Self-care coaching live with one of us, even though we split it out between mind, body, and spirit, because it's three of us. But do know that that all works together. It's your mind, body, and spirit isn't separate from one another. It's a cohesive thing. And when you come in to get your spiritual wellness coaching, you may find that you need to go to get your mental wellness coaching and then get your physical wellness coaching, but you may be good in one area, and so you may not need the other areas. So we're fine with that. That's why we split it up, but you may need all of us. So we're not separate. And we work together. We're gonna talk together. We can put a plan together for you. Let's see what else. The scholarships, leading into the scholarship. We have scholarships. So June 5th is the closing date. So we have a little more than a week to get those in. Thank you to the ladies who've applied so far. June 5th, we'll close it out and then start selecting people. So that's going to be exciting. So, if it's not something that you can financially pay for, or even if you can pay for it, apply.
Who don't like free stuff?
Man, who doesn't? And refer it to somebody that if it's not for you. Let's see, what else do we have?
All of our platforms: YouTube, social media, Instagram, Facebook,
Website.
Yeah, website. Check us out. Join our not only the subscription, but also just our email subscription. So not just the self-care box, but our email subscription list. So you can just keep up with what we have going on. If you have topics that you are interested, that you want to learn more about, and you want to hear us discuss, you want to know what we want to pick our brains on it, please DM us. Let us know. Sponsor a boo. Like I said, it is not for you, the males. I know, I mean, yes, we are for women, but I see y'all watching, because that's why I keep on giving y'all cootie free kisses. But sponsor a boo to help them get their lives together. Happy people in your space that projects more happiness.
Right, love the women you with. I mean,
yeah, love them enough to help them guide themselves. Even because sometimes we don't listen to you. Sometimes you got to hear it from another woman to know it's real. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh damn, I was messed up right there. It's a thing.
It was
Um,
out.
so yes, it's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow for all of us, but sometimes we can swallow it if we have help. Um, and so we just want to thank you, and we're gonna say namaste out of our way and cootie free kisses. Love. See
And
you
next
next week.
weekend we won't be here. It's the holiday weekend, so
Party.
we off too. Enjoy your holiday weekend. You
Yes.
know, we'll still be sending out the daily post, but we won't be live. We will be
Yes.
enjoying the holiday.
This is true. So we'll wrap up. This is the wrap up of mental wellness made for us. Protect your mental wellness and reach out if you need help. If you look for resources, they're available. You don't have to do anything on your own. So love, peace, and more head grease. Ball head, small head. Bye, y'all.
Bye.